Hey everyone, Turd Fleeing Monkey, how you doing? If you're part of the manosphere, and MGTOW in particular, you're very familiar with the terms taken from the Matrix movie franchise. The red pill awakens you to the truth, and the Matrix is the system of lies that exploits men and turns them into batteries to power said system. In the Matrix franchise, the Matrix itself is never destroyed. In the third movie, Neo defeats Agent Smith in an epic Dragon Ball Z-esque CGI fight, and the humans and robots have a truce. Well, Matrix Revolution sucked donkey dick, and now I'm going to tell you why and how the real-life Matrix will be destroyed. First, we have to answer one question. Are men superior to women? Not just in one way such as strength, but in every single way that matters. Let's begin with the obvious and move on from there. Rational people who didn't major in gender studies accept that men are naturally stronger, tougher, and generally better at physical tasks than women. I really don't feel the need to cite evidence for this. The evidence is your own eyes and common sense. But I think the strongest evidence is that women and even feminists openly acknowledge this when they demand lower fitness standards for women in fields like the military, the police, and firefighters. According to the U.S. Army fitness standards, a man aged 22 to 26 doing 75 push-ups in a row earns the same score as a woman the same age, only able to do 46 push-ups. That man fails if he can't do at least 31 push-ups in a row, while the woman can do as few as 15, which still earns her the same score as a man who did 37. It's not just physical strength. In many fantasy video games, the male character is typically bulky, strong, but slow, while the female character is weaker but makes up for it by being faster. This works as a game mechanic in order to create balance, but it has no basis in real life. Women are actually slower than men, as well as weaker. Again, from the U.S. Army fitness standards, a 22 to 26-year-old man who runs 2 miles in 13 minutes earns the same score as a woman the same age that takes 15 minutes and 36 seconds to run the exact same 2 miles. The man will fail if he takes longer than 17 minutes and 30 seconds to run the 2 miles, but the woman can take as long as 20 minutes and 30 seconds. The source is in the description. Alright, sure, men are stronger and faster, but women are smarter, right? Movies and TV shows are full of computer nerd women running circles around big dumb men. Women may not have brawn, but they make up for it with brains, right? Wrong. Women require lower standards and quotas there as well. But wait, turd-flinging monkey, don't women graduate from college in greater numbers than men? And doesn't that prove that women are smarter than men? Yes, they do, but no, they aren't. You see, simply graduating from college doesn't mean anything if you majored in something easy and useless like most liberal arts degrees. When you look at the STEM fields, or science, technology, engineering, and math, what do you see? According to the National Center for Education Statistics, which studied students from 1996 to 2001, 33% of male college students entered a STEM field major, while only 15% of female students did so. In another study conducted by the National Bureau of Economic Research published last month in January 2015, it found that out of the students in high school taking the Advanced Computer Science Placement Test, 81.5% were male and only 18.5% were female. Additionally, 88% of computer science degrees were awarded to men and only 12% were awarded to women. So not much has changed in almost 15 years between these two studies. Now, what do you think the proposed solution is to this problem? Take a guess. In a paper written by Associate Professor of Physics Casey Miller of the University of South Florida and Kaivan Strawson, Professor of Physics and Astronomy at Vanderbilt University and Fisk University, which was published in the journal Nature in 2014, the solution is to lower the math standards for women. I'm not making it up. Link in the description. Okay, I get it, turd-flinging monkey. Women are weaker, slower, and dumber than men in all the important fields that actually do things to better humanity. But don't women have a higher emotional intelligence than men? Emotional intelligence is bullshit. It doesn't exist. It doesn't measure anything except feminist desperation to prove women can be better than men at something. If you haven't heard of emotional intelligence before, you're not alone. So what is emotional intelligence? Well, rather than read you the definition or link to various papers, why don't we take an emotional intelligence test together and see what the questions are and find out. This quiz will be from psychology.about.com. I'll post a link in the description for anyone else who wants to take the test. Question 1. In my group of friends, I am generally aware of how each person feels about the other people in our social circle. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. I choose E. Who gives a shit? It's none of my business. Next. Question 2. When I am upset, I can usually pinpoint exactly why I am distressed. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Alright, I'll go with A. Strongly agree. Hey, I'm on the board. Moving on. Question 3. While there are some things that I would like to change, I generally like who I am. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Are you fucking kidding me? Question 3 is asking about my self-esteem. Part of my emotional intelligence is based on how much I like myself. Holy shit. Alright, I'll go with strongly agree. I'm a sexual tyrannosaur. Moving on. Question 4. When I make mistakes, I often berate and criticize myself and my abilities. Often, sometimes, rarely, almost never. So they're asking if you're a whiny bitch. No, I'm not a whiny bitch. Next. Question 5. I feel uncomfortable in emotionally charged situations. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. No. Next. Question 6. I tend to avoid confrontations. When I am involved in a confrontation, I become extremely anxious. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. How many more questions are there going to be like this? No, I am not a neurotic child that shits their pants and cries about it. Question 7. I am generally aloof and detached until I really get to know a person. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. You know, this is actually a decent question. It really depends on the situation, but I'm probably overthinking it. I'll just go with disagree. Next. Question 8. I tend to overreact to minor problems. Often, sometimes, rarely, almost never. Are you kidding me? How can women actually score higher than men on this test based on this question? Women always overreact to minor problems. It's a trope. Quick, someone call Anita Sarkeesian. This test is a trope against women. Never. Moving on. Question 9. I feel confident about my own skills, talents, and abilities. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Another self-esteem question. Yes, I'm fucking awesome. Let's move on. Question 10. I would describe myself as a good judge of character. Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. Okay, another self-esteem question. So we're grading ourselves. I didn't realize that a test of your intelligence was based on self-assessments. I don't think IQ tests work this way, but this one does. I think that tells you a lot. Sure, I'm a great judge of character. Next. Question 11. When I am facing an unpleasant task, I tend to make a plan and work on it a little each day. Get it over with as soon as possible. Put it off until the last minute. Don't do it at all. Definitely B. I didn't realize laziness was part of this test. Anyway, moving on. Question 12. During a heated argument, I am more likely to stop the fight and agree to a short break before resuming the discussion, shut down and stop responding to the other person, give in and apologize in order to quickly end the argument, start insulting the other person. Again, how is this test favoring women? Notice that rationally present evidence isn't an option. I don't agree with any of these options. If I'm right, I'll prove it, and if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. So the only time something becomes a heated argument is when a bitch is wrong and won't admit it or back down. I guess in real life, I would just leave or kick her out depending on where we were. So I'll just go with A. Question 13. When making an important decision, I tend to follow my instincts, rely on direction from other people, go with the easiest option, guess randomly. Notice there is no carefully consider the options, do a cost-benefit analysis, or weigh the pros and cons option. No option to carefully research a decision and make sure it's informed. Just follow your instincts or guess randomly. Doesn't that sound like a typical woman? I guess research could be considered listening to other people, so I'll go with that one. Question 14. Which of the following statements best describes you? I have an easy time making friends and getting to know new people. I get along well with others, but I have to really get to know someone before they become a true friend. I find it difficult to meet people and make friends. I cannot make friends. What kind of friends are we talking about, and what does this have to do with anything? I have over 1,200 subscribers. Does that mean I know how to make friends? Do Facebook friends count? I guess I'll go with B because I'm an easygoing guy but don't have a lot of close friends. Question 15. You have invested a lot of time and energy into a project for one of your classes. While you feel confident about your work, your instructor gives you a C+ on the project. How do you deal with the situation? Decide the class is stupid and stop putting forth your best effort. Berate and criticize your own work. Confront the professor and ask for a better grade. Think about ways you can improve the project and apply these ideas to future schoolwork. D, obviously, next. Question 16. One of your best friends has suffered a miscarriage. How do you respond? Allow your friend to express her feelings and offer your support. Spend time with her but avoid talking about her loss. Convince her to go out with some friends to get her mind off it. Give her some time to herself. I would go with D because I'm a man, but I'm sure that's the wrong answer. And this test is clearly designed for women. So I'll go with A. We'll have a sleepover, I'll paint your nails, we could have pillow fights and talk about boys. Next. Question 17. One of your coworkers has a habit that annoys you. The problem seems to be getting worse each day. How do you respond? Tell your coworker what is bothering you. Make a complaint about the behavior to your supervisor. Talk about your coworker behind his back. Suffer in silence. The correct answer is A. Stop being a fucking cunt and complaining to a supervisor without talking to the person directly. They will probably stop if you tell them it's bothering you, but go ahead and get them fired and ruin their life because you want to avoid confrontation. Whatever is easier for you. You know who you are. Question 18. You've been feeling stressed out at work and haven't finished projects as quickly as you should. When your boss suddenly assigns you another large project, how do you feel? Anxious about getting all the work done, overwhelmed by the task before you, angry that your boss hasn't noticed how overworked you are, depressed and sure that you can never finish it all. Well, first off, you shouldn't be angry with your boss if it's your fault you haven't been finishing projects as quickly as you should. I guess I'll go with anxious. Alright, that's it. I got a quote-unquote high score. No numerical value to compare, just a high score. I guess that's a pass. So that's emotional intelligence, folks. As you can imagine, the word intelligence is a misnomer. There's nothing intelligence related in it. It's a test designed for women to pass because the only way women can win against men is if the game is rigged. So, are men superior to women? Yes, not just physically, but also mentally, in pretty much everything. Think of the fields where women outnumber men: nursing, teachers, administrative work, and government. Those fields aren't where winners go. Those are fields where losers go. People become nurses because they couldn't become doctors. They do admin because they can't produce anything of real value, so they just assist those that do. I don't hire a secretary to answer my phone because she's so much better at answering the phone than me. I hire her because I have more important things to do than answer the phone. My time is more valuable because I am more valuable. Finally, there's government employees, including teachers. People don't work for the government because they're the best and they can do anything they want. They get a job with the government because of the job security. They need a job where they don't have to worry about being fired because that's what they deserve. So now we've concluded that men are superior to women by every substantive standard. What does this mean? In the animal kingdom, especially in insects, smaller, weaker insects can overwhelm larger and stronger insects by sheer numbers. There are numerous instances of weaker organisms dominating physically superior ones, but it relies on large numbers to do so. Women do not significantly outnumber men. There is no way for them to control men without their permission. Now, what do I mean by their permission? Well, we can all agree that without the government, feminism would be little more than a fart in the wind. Nobody would care if a bunch of fat chicks with hairy armpits marched around if it didn't affect our lives through government. Because of feminism and the female vote, we have the massive welfare state I've mentioned numerous times, as well as the current family and divorce court systems that give no rights to men. And don't forget about laws like Title IX, affirmative action, sexual harassment laws, affirmative consent, even down to the publicly funded subway campaign against manspreading. That's why we have to care about feminism, because it's destroying men's lives. But what is the government other than force? And where does that force come from? The police and the military. If you look at the UN, nobody fears them or worries about them because they don't do anything, except send strongly worded letters that nobody listens to. They're toothless and thus useless. People fear the government though, because if you don't follow the laws, men with guns will come and take you away. I emphasize men. The force behind government that gives government and thus feminism its power are men. Essentially, women can only dominate and control men at the permission of men, those who wear uniforms and enforce the laws the government passes. One day, men will wake up and realize that their cages have no locks and that they are their own jailers. They will realize that women have no power except those that men grant them. Then there will be a moment where men no longer grant women the power to enslave them, and women will suddenly lose their power. Not by violence or force of arms, but because men realize that they had the power all along. And that's when the Matrix will be shut down for good.